My name is Justin, and I am a son of God and an addict, and the host of the RICO 12 speaker meeting. And thanks to my God, the steps, and the fellowship of other addicts, I am sober one day at a time since June 19th, 2015. And for that, I am beyond grateful. Welcome to RICO 12. We are an organization whose addictions include alcohol, drugs, lust and sex, food and gambling, just to name a few. We come together from all places, faiths, and backgrounds to learn the similarities of addiction and to gain tools and hope from others who are walking a similar path. We invite recovering addicts with at least 1 year sobriety and who are actively working their recovery in their respective fellowships to share their experience, strength, and hope on a live Zoom webinar each Friday at noon Central Time for 20 to 25 minutes. Then we, the live audience, get the opportunity to ask questions of the speaker for another 20 to 25 minutes. If you're hearing this meeting in recorded podcast form and would like to participate as a live audience member in the future, please go to RICO12.com, that's RECO12.com, to learn more and submit your email address there to receive weekly invitations. RICO 12 is a self-supporting service, and we appreciate your help in keeping us working our Step 12 in this manner. We gratefully accept contributions to help cover the costs of the Zoom platform, podcast platform, and web hosting and administrative costs. To contribute, you can go to RICO12.com/support, or you can click the link to PayPal that I'll have in the chat of the live meeting and also in the show notes of the podcast. When you contribute, please specify the meeting number. This is meeting number 64. One more word about our speakers before we introduce today's speaker. When we line up somebody to speak in a meeting, we ask them to seek guidance on what and how to present so that they can reflect the light that they have been given. That light will inspire hope, meaning, worth, and growth in us, the listening audience. Now let's introduce our guest speaker for today, Bianca R., whose topic will be My Journey from Fight to Flow. And this is something that I think I really need to hear today. So here's a little bit about her. Bianca is a gratefully recovered addict of the hopeless variety, living free and working with others in finding the great reality deep down within, turning her thinking and actions over to the care and divine timing of spirit. She continues to be worked by the 12 steps. I love that, to be worked by the 12 steps, and have commenced shoulder to shoulder our common journey from fight to flow. Bianca, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Justin. Yeah, I love that too. I don't work the steps. I am worked by the steps. Yes. Hey, everyone. My name is Bianca. Hello, family. Sending you big love and energy today. I am a recovered addict, a gratefully recovered addict. Ooh, she said it. Oh, she said it. She said it. Let me tell you, I turn my nose up. I turn my nose up at these people, right? Oh, she's one of those. Ooh, she's one of those big book people. I turn my nose up. Oh my God, recovered addict, hopeless, variety, recovered from a hopeless state of body and mind, and all the page numbers and page numbers and page numbers. And today I am one of those. I am one of those. I am a gratefully recovered addict of the hopeless variety. Hopeless variety, 100% hopeless, apart from divine help, apart from connection, apart from conscious contact, apart from working with others, working with you. I am 100% hopeless, and I'm like 0% helpful. Okay? That's it. We're in this journey together. And this topic of fight to flow, this was some kind of like divinely inspired God shot, because I do a lot of modifications. Justin, before we, at the top there, Justin read us out the set aside prayer, a version of the set aside prayer. And we have a little bit here on page 47. I'm a big book gal. Okay, I'm a big book gal. So I'm going to invite our listeners to have that open mind and open heart and spirit. Do not let any prejudice you may have against spiritual terms, against any way that another might work this program against anyone's journey deter you from honestly asking yourself what they mean to you. And this is what I had to do. I can't excuse myself. I no longer other myself from any sentence in this book, any phrase in this book. I'm in a fellowship, a beautiful fellowship of big book sponsors, spiritual gangsters, and we replace drinking with thinking. This is a design for living. When I replace drinking with thinking, I get to the core of this issue. Yeah. I have a disease of the mind. I have a disease of the spirit. I have a spiritual malady that requires one set of steps. It's one spiritual solution. And I used to excuse myself. I always like to be very, very just brutally honest about all of my balking. You know, I certainly balked until there was nothing left for me. Nothing left. So I can't excuse myself from any phrase in this book before honestly asking myself what it means to me. I fit myself into every sentence, because it is my terminal uniqueness, fatal uniqueness, that I'm different. I'm not one of you, or I'm not like this. That kills. It kills. It's fatal. It's fatal for this addict. So, you know, there's a bit in our book, and I'm speaking of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous here today. And I use this book for anything and everything. You know, there's a bit here where I'm going to try to find the page number here. You know, when we are to tell our story, I think it's 19. No, it's not 19. Come on, B. Come on. Let's get that God flow in today. 51. Leaving aside the think question, the drink question, the using question, the acting out question, the acting in question. Leaving aside all that, the recovered addicts tell why living was so unsatisfactory. There's a story in the back of the book, Empty on the Inside. And there's a line, it's 518. And this woman's journey parallels my own in so many ways. And it's really about the third step decision, where, you know, there's this movement. I am moved from fight to flow in the third step. The line is that some people get sober because they're afraid to die. I knew I would live, and that was far more terrifying. I had surrendered. So if there's any newcomers listening in, if there's any fellows who are in a spiritual workout that should be regarded as a part of your education, I know the gates of insanity and death. I know the terror of living. I know the terror of oblivion. I know it. I know it very intimately. I was very, very, very intimately acquainted with chaos and with abandoning myself, not to spirit of the universe, creative intelligence, nature capital, and whatever, right? To God, but to worshiping other things. Lowercase p power. A lowercase p power. I sought all my validation outside of myself. I was choked. I was absolutely choked by the divine power within. Choked. I wouldn't let it out. I'd fight it. Ooh, stay down. I got this. I'm going to manage this. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to control this. And it didn't work. I placed myself in a position to be hurt. Invariably, always. No exception. no exemption. Placed myself in a position to be hurt. What's that position? For me, that position in my spiritual sickness, in my untreated addiction, I've decided that I am God. I am God, or you are God. I am God, or you are God. I'm in the mortal realm, not in the realm of the spirit. I'm here in the mortal realm. I'm God, you're God. And of course, this is not going to work. This is never going to work. It's never going to work. This is the position I've placed myself in. And the position I am placed in by higher power, by my highest, most evolved self. You'll hear me, switching it up, because my step 11, ever evolving. I die in the definition. I'm an addict that dies in the definition. As soon as I put a flag in the ground, I define myself, my identity, my higher power, my understanding, my knowledge. I'm dead. I'm spiritually dead. Which takes me back to this quote on 5:18. I knew that I would live, and that was far more terrifying. This is that spiritual death. There might, not all of us get to that point of, or have come that close to physical death. Some of us have been brought back, but all of us, every single person, if you are listening to this, if you were called to listen to this and connect with us today, if you were vibrating on that frequency, guided by spirit to listen to this today, you have had a taste of spiritual death and that terror of living. This journey, this fight to flow business, I just love those words. But it's all the same. It's the journey of recovery. It's that journey of connection and conscious contact. From struggle to surrender, from belief to experience, from spiritual sickness to spiritual fitness, from knowledge to knowingness. I didn't understand this. I didn't experience this before this season of my recovery. That's what I'll speak to, probably, this season, right? There are many seasons of hard work ahead. We see that in the family afterward. So I'm in this season of my recovery where I'm experiencing that difference and that journey from knowledge, which avails me nothing. Knowledge, mortal realm, third dimension, avails me nothing. In the promises, in conscious contact, in working with others, in full abandon, utter abandon, complete to spirit, to God, we have the experience of knowingness, absolute certainty, sureness, faith. And in my faith, in my knowingness, in my surrender, in my experience, that's when I'm in flow. And that alignment, may thy will and mine align. I'm in that flow. So to speak a little bit about what it was like for me, or what it is like for me, I challenge past tense. I have to challenge past tense. Have to. Because in a moment of untreated spiritual sickness, in a thought spiral, that first thought, no defense against the first thought. Life is unmanageable. Life is becoming impossible. Life is surviving, trying to fix, manage, control. And I'm in fight. So I was a fighter, and there's moments that I slip into fight. I slip into fight. And there's a divine purpose to this fight. God is everything. Page 53. God is everything or God is nothing. What's our choice to be? I choose God is everything. I choose that there is magic. We always talk about the power, the capital P power, and we find the power in the sunlight of the spirit. But what about the darkness? What about that darkness that we all know so well? Knowing loneliness such as few do, being at the jumping off place, wishing for the end. There's magic here. There's magic in that darkness, and it too is divine. Capital D, darkness. I'll capitalize things. I must. We see a lot of capital letters in the book to honor the divinity. Page 133. When trouble comes, we should cheerfully capitalize, abandon ourselves with enthusiasm and cheerfully capitalize. Capitalize on it. Yeah? Capitalize it. As a demonstration, right? As an opportunity to demonstrate God's omnipotence. So I'll capitalize things. I'll capitalize things here and there. I'll capitalize T for trouble, capitalize D for darkness, capital P for pain. And I accept, I have gratitude for these things. I have gratitude for these things and honor the divinity within these things. And that's when I become a channel. That's when I become an agent of higher power, where there's space. That I realize that there's listeners here and you're not seeing what I'm doing. But I'm gesturing to my heart space and my throat. There's a fight in here. There was a fight in here. And it was blocked. It was blocked. And in my spiritual fitness, that space is opened. In my honoring that God is everything, in my gratitude that my painful past will become my greatest asset. It's of infinite value. Infinite value. Then I find myself in flow. Which is how it's working today. This is how it's, talk about a third step decision. Just turn it over, let it rip, speak the raw truth of your program B. So what did it used to be like, and what can it be like for this addict? As a fighter, I am a fighter. And I think I am above or below. Cocky and afraid. That's how I lived. I was up here. My ego was either through the roof or my self-pity was in the dirt. I was better than you. I know more than you. I grew up in recovery. How's that? I was a recovery kid. Grew up in recovery. I knew everything. I knew exactly what to say. Just to skate by. I rolled in the rooms for about a decade. It was my season of dabbling. I was a dabbler. Dabbled in the rooms, never worked the steps, never made a third step decision. I'd say I worked a two-step program of, of course, I'm an addict. I'm powerless, unmanageable. Oh, okay. I have a connection with some sort of higher power. I believe that it can restore me, but there was no way I'm going to turn it over. There was no way I was making that third step decision. There's nothing you could tell me. Because it's not about telling. It's about the demonstration. I understand that today. I experienced that today. It is not about telling. Because I was there. I'm armed with the facts about myself. I could hear everything. I could hear the most horrific war story, consequences. This would not deter me because I am a type 3 addict. I'm an addict of the hopeless variety. I'm absolutely 100% beyond human aid. Beyond human aid. There was nothing that was going to carry me. There was no human power, human aid, anything in the mortal realm that was going to carry me through that archway to freedom, that step 3 decision. So I had to come to a point where life was becoming impossible, where my thinking was so warped, my body mangled, my mind was mush. I mean, absolute mush. In the end of this addict's spree to end all sprees, my name sounded strange to me. My name sounded strange. I mean, I was there. My spirit was absolutely disconnected. And I had that taste of spiritual death. And when it came to that point where there was nothing left, no thing left, except to pick up the kit of spiritual tools that, was laid at my feet. I made the choice. And it wasn't my self-will that made the choice. If I was still waiting on my self-will to make that third step decision, I'd be dead. Waiting. I was gifted with that knowingness, however small, just a speck, the flimsy reed that proved to be the powerful and loving hand of God, the invitation into the fourth dimension. Only with that, my spirit made that third step decision. That's what makes this addict's third step decision. It was the first of many third step decisions. And I prayed to be possessed. And I, until I became more acquainted with the book, which gives me the language to just connect with all of you, to describe what happened to me, which there are no words for this, and what continues to happen for me in this awakening, in this journey. I'm just going to take us to that section about possession and flow, where we see these words on page 46. It's in We Agnostics. As soon as we admitted the possible existence of a creative intelligence, a spirit of the universe underlying the totality of things, we began to be possessed by a new sense of power and direction, provided we took other simple steps. We found that God does not make too hard terms with those who seek God. To us, the realm of the spirit is broad, roomy, all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidding to those who earnestly seek. It is open, we believe, to all people. And we save seats in the fourth dimension. I save a seat here as others saved my seat before me. It is roomy. It is all inclusive. We stand by the door. I'm going to take us to page 63, where we see flow again in the third step promises. As we felt a new power flow into that space that was once blocked. We see that new power flow in. We enjoyed peace of mind. We discovered we could face life successfully. As we became conscious of its presence, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. We were reborn. Step 3 is the only place that we get that promise of rebirth. And I'm speaking in this season of my recovery. And in this season of my recovery, I have a knowingness that all the steps that come after 3 are an invitation back to step 3. This is an invitation back to step 3. My spirit is fearless. And my step 3 decision carries me through all of it and places me in a position where I have fit myself to be of maximum service to my spirit, maximum service to others in the rooms, outside of the rooms. Working with others is working with others, period. Working with others is working with others. And when I'm following the exact instructions, I'm in this flow space, God consciousness. I'm going to take us to the 10-step promises. So we have this common language together. Page 85. Now we'll start on 84. I'm in the 4th edition. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone. Ceased fighting anything or anyone. Even alcohol, drugs, acting out, acting in. For by this time, which is now, here, present, any time, can be this time. For by this time, sanity will have returned. That's our step 2 promise. We will seldom be interested in our thought spirals, liquor, using, people. If tempted, we recoil as from a hot flame. We recoil from it. We don't fuck with fire. That's it. We react sanely. We respond sanely and normally. And we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude towards whatever we had been using has been given to us. It's coming to us without any thought or effort on our part. I was all about the thought and the effort on my part, on how I could fix, manage, and control. There is no thought or effort required here. If I've made a 3rd step decision, it just comes. That's the miracle of it. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. I'm a free woman. I'm a free woman. I don't need a bodyguard. I can go anywhere on earth where other free people can go, assuming I am spiritually fit. All sorts of things. There's nowhere I won't go to be helpful. There's nowhere I won't go to seek help. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality. Here's that flow, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. Neither are we cocky, above, more than, superior. Nor are we afraid, below, less than, inferior. Piece of shit. That's where I lived. Ooh, bing, bang, boom. All those extremes. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Boy, did I think I was living. Oh, I thought I was living. It was so poetic until it wasn't. Until I discovered the true nature of my disease and the true nature of my spirit. I was gifted with that separation, which also separated me from shame. That is our experience. That is how we react, how we respond. So long as we keep and fit spiritual condition, we've begun to sense the flow of spirit into us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We've begun to develop this vital 6th sense. Vitality. This is also that journey from survival to living. I live. I absolutely insist on enjoying life. And when I'm at meetings, I'm throwing out, I'm throwing this out. I'm in the, right up in the camera here, like living. I'm living. And the truth is, I'm not going to those, I'm not being transported to those places of only, joy and happiness and la, 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 la. I am transported across time and space, the full spectrum of human experience, of human emotion, all of its intensity, unemotionally medicated, fully present. My gratitude, I'm equally in growing, ever evolving, growing gratitude for the moments in which I am absolutely at peace and joy, and the moments that I am screaming in hopes that my guts are going to come out of my esophagus. Okay? Full spectrum. I get to live that. Unemotionally medicated and be present for that. Radical. It's radical. Ooh, flow is radical. Radical acceptance, radical gratitude, radical humility, radical patience, radical service, radical love, radical forgiveness. It's radical. It's radical and it's real. It's radical and it's real. You know, I wrote in my, Justin read it at the top here. You know, I wrote in my little description, you know, that I continue to be worked by the 12 steps. I continue to be worked. This is my experience. This is my experience, strength, and hope. This was like the spiritual like secret, or it felt like a secret, and now I'm in on it. You know, we speak of the program of action. I experience this as a program of movement. I am not moving. I am not moving in my own self-will. I am a finite human aid. And I'm beyond finite human aids. I allow myself to be moved. And I've had the experience of being moved. Working. Look at all this work I do. That used to be me. You know, we speak of faith without works, but how about works without faith? You know, look at everything I'm doing. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm working my program. Ooh, check out this. Check out my inventory. Ooh, check out my fourth step. Check out this. You know, I'm trying to get a gold star from higher power without truly turning it over and following the dictates of my higher power. I'm still in my little plans and designs when I'm in that works without faith space, when I'm working and I'm working and I'm working. And it's hard. It's exhausting. Relax. Take it easy. You're no longer running the show. God does for us what we can never do for ourselves. Never do. So this movement is from all this work, all this fight, exhaustive, oh my God, into this flow space of being worked, being moved. That's that.
That's awesome.
That's that. I'm going to, Well, I'd like to pause. But before I pause, I haven't even been looking at the time, Justin.
Yeah, let's wrap this up for Q&A, but go ahead and give us a final thought there, and then we'll do Q&A.
Amazing. So I'll wrap it up with this. There's if I simplify it, what is it? Any fight that might come up within me, any doubt as to what path to take. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Decision making. I only need to ask myself one question. And today, armed with the facts and with a full and utter third step decision, that answer will come to me. And the question is really this: Is this thing I'm about to dive into in my thought life, that I'm about to take out into action, into dynamics with other people, into the world. In this thing, am I abandoning my spirit to self-will? Or am I abandoning self to spirit? And the experience of abandoning self to spirit is what takes me into this flow space. And I'll end with page 25, which is absolutely it. We have found much of heaven, and we have been rocketed into the fourth dimension of existence, of which we have not even dreamed. The great fact is just this and nothing less. Nothing less than this. That I have had deep and effective spiritual experiences, which have revolutionized my whole attitude toward life, toward my fellows, towards God's universe. The central fact of my life today is the absolute certainty that my Creator has entered my heart and lives. I love this sentence because you could read it a few ways. Entered our hearts and lives, or entered our hearts and lives in a way that is indeed miraculous, commenced to accomplish those things for us, which we could never, never do by ourselves. So thank you all for sharing this space with me. And I can't wait to hear from others. Thank you so much, Justin.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bianca. That was really good. Before we get into the Q&A, just want to remind our listening audience, if you have a question for Bianca, please type it in the Q&A link at the bottom of your Zoom window. It looks like two speech bubbles over the top of each other. You can click on that and type it in. We do have a question that came in a bit ago that we'll get to here in a second. But could you, Bianca, please take just 60 seconds and kind of describe or share a little bit about your fellowship that you attend and how it helps you?
Of course. So my home fellowship is amazing. I'm eternally grateful for my home fellowship. We call ourselves the Spiritual Gangsters. We are a big book sponsorship group. SLA Toronto. If there's anyone from our fellowship here in the chat, I know y'all are here. Throw up some links. So I'm feeling called in the last few seconds here to just share how I found this fellowship. Because I was praying. I didn't know what I needed. I knew that I needed power. Lack of power was my dilemma. And I knew I needed power. I needed solution. I was done with the mess. I was done with my, decade of dabbling, in and out of so many, recovery spaces, therapy, trauma work, inner child work. I did it all and I needed the simple spiritual solution. And I was called to be of maximum service to others. And I needed to see sponsorship, non-codependent sponsorship. And I found it. It's a beautiful family.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll get to the first question that was asked, and this is by one of our live audience members, Daniel. Daniel says, your image of being choked reminded me of the minister's son. His gorge rose is what it is in quotes here. The big book warns against getting angry, a dubious luxury on page 66, and the first principle of success from page 111. How do we learn to let that stuff out or to let God in to those spaces of anger, hurt, grief, and pain?
Thanks for your question. So I'm like, I'm reading this chat and I'm like zeroed in. I'm zeroed in on this word grief. Because that's what it is for me. It's this, the ultimate fear of death, the death of a breath, the death of a dynamic, the death of a season, the death of a chapter, the death of an old idea. Old ideas. It's my old ideas that keep me in this place of anger, of rage, of impatience and urgency. Old ideas. For this addict, scarcity, old idea. I need to pray for those demonstrations of abundance. And I have to honor these things, honor that which has died. That's what carries me out of the brainstorm, out of the grouch. That's 66. The grouch and the brainstorm, the fighter and the analyzer are not for us. They're absolute poison. And I have to embrace these moments of grief to honor that which has died. Radical acceptance, not self-pity, but radical acceptance in grief. This is happening. This is the transformational nature of death. Thank you. Thank you, capital G, grief. Thank you, capital A, anger. Thank you, capital H, hurt. Thank you, capital P, pain. You too are divine. And I mean, we say that, we're not a glum lot. We're not a glum lot. And in that honoring, I find myself carried and moved to levity. It's hilariously painful. It's hilariously painful, this journey. And of course, we have actions, and we have a full 12-step program, exact instructions as to how to be moved to maximum service to our spirit and others. So I would suggest honor, radical acceptance, radical presence, and following the exact instructions. Cycle it through all 12 steps. Place it in God's hands like any other problem. And we'll find that the things which come to us were better than anything we could have planned. And our painful past, whatever you may be in now with this hurt, grief, rage, anger, resentment, fear, will be of infinite value. Greatest asset.
Very cool. Thank you, Bianca. You brought up in your talk, and also just here in this answer, the capital lettered words, capital T trouble, capital A anger. Does there also exist small t trouble and small a anger? And if so, in your experience, what is the difference, and how do I deal with the small a anger versus the capital A anger?
I started on this little capitalization journey, and hearing another beautiful fellow in my fellowship speak on the capital S self versus the lowercase s self. And my lowercase, this is what really separated this for me. And I had that click of the experience. My lowercase anything, but I'll just speak to lowercase s self. My lowercase s self is it is the fighter. It is the manager. It is the, lowercase d director. It's the disease. It's the disease. It's the disease. And I have to be very hard on that lowercase s self. We must be hard on ourselves, but always considerate of others. That's in the book. Lowercase s self. I'm very hard on that. Very hard on it, because I have the knowingness that it is not my uppercase s self, my spirit, my soul. And there's an acronym for hard that I find really helpful. I share with my sponsees. H is honest. A, accountable. R, real or responsible. And D, direct. This does not equal shame. This does not equal morbid reflection or self-pity. We are the observer. We are the observer. I like satellite self. Looking at these things. Looking, watching, seeing, waking up. This is our awakening, where we're consciously awake to these things. So yeah, I do experience that journey from the lowercase to the uppercase all the time. And it's a third step decision that doesn't happen on the page. And on the page, if you do go to the page 63, it says the words are optional, quite optional, so long as we express the idea, voicing it without reservation of any kind. That was just like a riff, but
yeah.
There you go.
No, that was really cool. Can you please repeat the acronym HARD again for me? Yes. So I can get that down?
Yes. H, honest. A, accountable. R, responsible or real. D, direct.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you for that. And man, you're spouting a whole bunch of wisdom here, and I'm really grateful for that. I have another question here for you that I'd like to ask, and a reminder to our listening audience: if you have a question for Bianca, please type it in the Q&A there. So in this journey from fight to flow, part of that process is it's surrender. It's giving up the fight so that I can get into flow. Now, how does giving up control or expectation actually create freedom or that flow. I mean, so often in my own journey, I feel like I have to either live up to an expectation that I either set for myself or I feel somebody else is setting for me, and I need to control something to get to that expectation, or I feel like I need to control someone or something else so that it meets my expectation. How do I find peace in just giving that up and going into flow?
It's a great question, Justin. And I'm called to respond in the way that I would respond to any sponsee asking me the question of how am I going to do this? You know, any struggling fellow in outreach. I was there too, and I'm armed with the facts about me. And the reason that I would be asking that question is because I have fear that it's not going to work for me, that it's not just going to come to me, that I need to hear someone else's experience of how to do this, of how did you do it? How did you do it? I need to hear that. And the simple answer of how is remain open, honest, and willing. HOW. Honest, open-minded, open-hearted, open-spirited, and willing. And the experience is sure to come to you in that way. And we also have our exact instructions. Our exact instructions. Step 1, I am absolutely powerless and unmanageable. Powerless and unmanageable. I concede to my innermost self that I am an addict of the hopeless variety. Hopeless, that I am beyond human aid. Beyond human aid. I continue from there. I could go through all the 12 steps here, but if there's any other questions, you know, we have our exact instructions. But as far as my journey might not look like your journey. So if someone asked me that question, I'd probably take them to a fear inventory and say, like, what is the fear here? For me, it's that fear of death of any kind. The fear of death of any kind. And we'd work a fear inventory on it and carry it through the rest of the steps.
Like that. Thank you for that information there, your experience on that. It's helpful to me as I'm one who, you know, in that fight or flow right now, I am trying to break away from the fight and get back into the flow. You know, my life, as well as so many others, but I just speak from my own personal experience, goes in these ups and downs. And sometimes I try and take that back because I feel like I need to control this somehow. I've got this schedule that I have to maintain. And it's so stressful, but thank you for your words there and your experience. I really appreciate it. And I will be doing a fear inventory on that after this. So,
and I have to, you know, I always have to remind myself that there is no trying. There is no trying. It's a half measure, you know? So when I'm in that thing of like, well, I'm going to try to do this, I'm going to, you know, I wish, right? We're beyond human aid. There's no amount of wishing, trying, even necessity. You know, no matter the wish, the necessity, how hard we try, I don't let go. I can't on my own lowercase p power and my own self-will and my own effort. I can't let go. I don't let go. I need to be let go of. I need to be let go of as I am being worked, as I am being moved. You know, so my prayer in those moments when I slip into that space of trying. God, show me. My initiate brat mode, right? I want to be told. I want to know the future. I want to know how this is gonna, you know, that I don't need to be afraid, but I need to be shown. I need to be shown and I need to have that experience. So show me how to demonstrate. Show me how to demonstrate these spiritual principles. Show me the path to take. Show me what needs to happen for me. What needs to happen for me to be let go of? Oftentimes I find that I am, well, I'll say this, God also will go to any lengths to wake me up. God also goes to any lengths. So I'm going to be slam, hit with all that which I need to wake up to. It's going to keep, that's its divine purpose, is to wake me up from it. One of our fellows in a meditation shared, that we were bound to be free. We were always bound to be free, as in, you were bound to, you were always meant to be free. But I could also see that as that we were bound, restricted, imprisoned, in bondage, that bondage of self, for the very purpose of being free. That magic in the darkness business.
Love it. Thank you so much, Bianca. So we're getting close to the time to wrap up here. If you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with us before I get into this closing reading and sending us off into our day with a recovery prayer, go ahead and share those words of wisdom with us now.
I do. I have all my books out around me, and I'm gonna take us outside the big book for this final thought. And this was something that came to me, God shot, during my first cycle, first of many, as I work these steps every day, in my fourth step, when I was struggling with that shame, and I couldn't separate that lowercase from the uppercase. Just part of my 11th step practice, things will come at me from anywhere. So I'm going to leave us today with a little excerpt from a poem by the poet Rumi. It's from a larger work called Say I Am You. Seeds feed a while on ground, then lift up into the sun. So you should taste the filtered light and work your way toward wisdom with no personal covering. That's how you came here, like a star without a name.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to have to listen to that and go seek that out so
we can unpack it. I can unpack that. Woo.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to dwell on there and think about. That's really good. Thank you so much for leaving us that invitation to dig deeper and look at the development that can happen as I not resist the fight, just let myself go from the fight and get into the flow. Beautiful stuff. Thank you so much, Bianca. So that was a great RICO 12 weekly speaker meeting for all addicts and those wanting to learn more about addiction and the recovery therefrom. If we didn't get to your question, or if you have other questions, please go to rico12.com/forum and join in our community and ask those questions and answer others' questions that may come up. I invite the audience to come back next week. If you have not yet gone to rico12.com, I invite you to go there and submit your email address so that you can get on the invitation list. So you can join us live each Friday at noon Central Time. Next week, we'll be hearing from Michael H., and I'm excited about it. His topic will be a good one. I didn't write it down, so I don't have it here, but it's going to be a good one, and I'm real excited about it. So let's launch off into the rest of our day with the third step prayer that Bianca has offered to be voiced for. Take it away, Bianca.
God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self so that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties so that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help. Of thy love, thy power, thy way of life, may I do thy will always. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Everybody, keep coming back. It works when I work it, so work it. You are worth it.
Standing still a moment, carving out this time, reflecting on the landscape of this life of mine. Peaks Mountains too high to conquer, streams too wide to cross, troughs too deep to walk through without incurring loss. Yet here I am, still standing tall, despite the rough terrain. One like me survived the storms and walked through wind and rain. Still standing, I will fight the good fight. Still searching for glimmers of light. Feet still on the ground. I can still be found standing still.
My wings are torn and tattered, but I know I still can fly. I may not soar unfettered, I may not rise too high.
Recorded in the book of life and bind it with the seal